Today we have a look at war updates, several shootings, and much more.
We have today's weather forecast with Madison and a look at sports with Eli.
Today is Monday, March 28, 2022.
We are live from Shroyer's broadcast studio H12 on the campus of Bradley Central High School, and you are watching Vox News Today.
Welcome back. I am Alex Wingard.
And I am Amber Filyal.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan is facing a no-confidence vote in Parliament after the country's opposition leaders called for him to step down. They accused Khan of damaging the economy and being responsible for poor foreign policy decisions. In the 1980s and 90s, Khan was celebrated as one of the world's best cricket players. Khan's is the last administration under threat in Pakistan, as so far, no prime minister has ever completed a full term in office.
Shanghai will implement a new lockdown for mass COVID-19 testing. The eastern half of the city will stay at home for 4 days starting Monday. The rest of Shanghai will go into lockdown starting Friday. No one will be able to leave their residences, and public transportation in those areas will be suspended. The new measure comes as state health officials in China reported more than 5,500 locally transmitted COVID-19 cases on Saturday. It was the second consecutive day with more than 5,000 cases. Nearly half of them were in Shanghai. Current daily infections in the city are the highest reported since the pandemic began.
Ukrainian refugees are still moving to new places because of the war. In this case, they have escaped to the Carpathian Mountains to avoid Russian shelling. They reside in the idyllic ski resort of Slavsko. Many hotels have opened their doors for these families. Slavsko has taken in 3,400 displaced people, nearly doubling their population, but they insist that it is not a burden and that they're willing to help.
Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett arrived in the city of Hadera on Sunday. A meeting was held to discuss an attack that left 2 Israelis dead and several injured. The 2 assailants in the shooting were killed by police, authorities said. Around 8:30 p.m. local time, the terrorist arrives in a vehicle to Herbert Samuel Street and opened fire on passers-by. The wounded were then evacuated for medical treatment at a medical center in Hadera.
Peace talks between Russia and Ukraine are set to resume as early as today. That's according to one member of the Ukrainian delegation. But some people say the people who could end the war might not be at the negotiating table. Turkey says it's hosting talks between Ukraine and Russia this week. But some people think it's the Russian people who could end the war. The problem is Russian President Vladimir Putin is making it hard for his people to learn the truth about what's going on in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke to independent Russian journalists today. Zelensky told the journalists about the horrors in the besieged city of Mariupol.
Peace talks between Russia and Ukraine are set to resume as early as today. That's according to one member of the Ukrainian delegation. Some say it's Russian citizens who have the real power to stop the war. Turkey says it's hosting talks between Ukraine and Russia this week, but some say the people who could end the war might not be negotiating at the table. The last part is the problem. Russian President Vladimir Putin is making it hard for people to learn the truth about what's going on in Ukraine. The Ukrainian president spoke to independent Russian journalists Sunday. He told the journalists about the horrors in the besieged city of Mariupol. Ukraine says it's still hard to get people out of the city despite new humanitarian corridors for civilians.
More than 3.1 million people have fled Ukraine, according to the United Nations. However, many Ukrainians have been unable to evacuate the war zone and now lack access to food, water, electricity, and medical supplies. The war has destroyed major cities, and it has been heartbreaking watching people struggling to survive after losing everything. Canada itself has allocated an additional $25 million in humanitarian assistance to Ukraine since the start of 2022, including up to $10 million in matching funds to the Canadian Red Cross Ukraine Humanitarian Crisis Appeal. The Government of Canada has also offered up to $620 million in sovereign loans to support Ukraine's economic resilience.
Police arrived at the 300 block of Rustic Avenue where they found two dead men in the driveway of a home. The two men found dead were identified as Jamie Jesus Gomez, 23, and Daniel Eli Gonzalez, 21, both from Hollister. An additional gunshot victim was found at the scene, was conscious and taken to the hospital via ambulance. Police said all 5 victims were standing outside a home when a dark-colored compact SUV drove northbound and shot them as it was passing by. Multiple shots were fired at the victims and the car quickly sped off. The motive and circumstances for the shooting is currently being investigated. However, this incident is being investigated as a possibly gang-related shooting, according to police. As of yet, no word on any suspects have been made.
Texas authorities are warning the Coryell County area that the Crittenburg fire remains uncontained Sunday night. The fire has already consumed more than 10,000 acres. Emergency management officials say areas more than 50 miles away could be impacted by smoke. Officials with the Texas A&M Forestry Service are responding to a request for help.
A FedEx driver in South Carolina ending his shift noticed something unusual in the distance. He followed his instinct and ended up rescuing a child from a car accident. It was around 6:30 and delivery driver Damian Rose was headed back, ready to clock off and drop off his truck. But something caught his attention first. That's when Rose put his truck in park, unbuckled his seatbelt, and hopped out to help. So that's what he did. Rose said he got the door open, ripped the child's car seat, and pulled the little boy out to safety. Rose said he waited with the families until emergency crews got there, but he says he never second-guessed helping in the first place.
And now let's check on our weather. Madison, what can you tell us?
Spring is finally here. Stay tuned for today's weather update and much more right after this break.
Wow, college already.
Yeah. We gotta go.
I love you.
I love you too, Daddy. And thanks for everything.
Gratitude. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
but a lot better than last week.
Final round. Fight.
Welcome back. I'm Madison Johnston with your weather. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather at glance for today. Right now in Cleveland, it is 39 degrees with a high listed today of 61 and a low of 37. The precipitation is listed for 0 and the wind is 6 miles per hour. The humidity for today will be 54% with a dew point of 24 degrees. Pressure is 30.21 inches, the visibility is 10 miles, and the UV index is great, which is 0 out of 10. Now let's look at our local radar. Currently, there is no precipitation in our area, but there is a small little shower in Athens, just north of Etowah. And now let's look at our national radar. There are storms in the west coast, close to California and Oregon, and a few snow and ice showers up towards the north, towards Canada. But in our side of there is nothing. And now let's look at our 7-day weather. Tuesday will be cloudy with a high of 70 and a low of 55. Wednesday will be partly cloudy with a high of 80 and a low of 56. Thursday we'll have scattered showers move in with a high of 69 and a low of 40. Friday we'll have mostly sunny skies with a high of 66 and a low of 38. Saturday we'll also have scattered showers again with a high of 66 and a low of 42. And Sunday will be mostly sunny with a high of 64 and a low of 39. That's all I have for weather, and now here's Eli with your sports.
Today we have coverage on Deshaun Watson's allegations and a one-year deal signed and more after this break.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
Misrepresent the facts? Are you kidding?
Your proposal's ludicrous.
My proposal will go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
Oh, that's the power of one.
Civility. Pass it on.
One grain of sand can turn the tide.
Today we're going to be on our baseball.
I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike one. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike two. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike 3. Wow. I'm the greatest pitcher in the world. Yes!
Optimism. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. I am Eli Dunn with your sports. Fans stormed Mass Street in Lawrence, Kansas as the Jayhawks topped Miami to make it to the Final Four. This will be the 16th time the storied Kansas program has made it far in March Madness. The Jayhawks will face Villanova, which has won 2 of the past 5 national titles, but the marquee attraction will be the matchup between Duke and North Carolina. Tar Heels have a record of 21 appearances in the Final Four, while Duke has 17. After trading Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins and appearing to have no interest in keeping free agent starting safety Tyrann Mathieu, the Chiefs are now also losing veteran safety Daniel Sorensen. The 8-year veteran is signing a 1-year deal to head to the NFC South and to join the New Orleans Saints. Sorensen had spent all 8 of his years in the NFL, with the Chiefs becoming a full-time starter in the secondary. In his second season now, he will get a chance to join one of the NFL's best defenses in New Orleans and play alongside Pro Bowl and all Pro Bowl talents. As Watson arrived in Cleveland for a physical to answer questions about his past behavior, a second Texas grand jury declined to indict the quarterback, who has been accused of sexual misconduct by 22 women and still faces civil lawsuits. And on Friday, Watson finally broke the silence surrounding his allegation in an introductory press conference with the team. Understand the seriousness of the allegations, Watson said to the Cleveland media. He stated, "I never assaulted any women. I never disrespected any woman in my life. I wasn't raised that way. It's not in my DNA." That's all for sports. Stay tuned for more news with Amber and Alex right after this break.
CRCC to me is a calling that God placed on my life to really step out in faith on something that I didn't think I could do, and it's been amazing to see how God's worked through it.
CRCC stands for Crossroads Community Church, but we're a church that our vision is to be a life-giving church in our community. We do that through helping people know God, find freedom, discover their purpose, and then go make a difference. And so that's what we're doing every week, is helping people discover their jam and go make a difference.
We broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do? Dude, kiss your life goodbye.
Let's go. Yeah.
Sorry, kid.
Keep smiling, keep shining. No,
Hi. Tell him it was an accident, and we can fix the window. I'll come with you.
that's what friends are for.
Welcome back.
People donate items to classrooms and teachers all the time, but an Alabama school is turning around by the theme by donating a missile in its tank-like character to a veterans museum. An old Lance missile and its porter sat outside the old Athens High School for decades. They were donated to the school's ROTC program in the 1970s, but the building is now a middle school, and the missile and launcher were recently packed up for donation to the Alabama Veterans Museum and Archives for restoration and display.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says 2 off-duty officers in Savannah shot a man who pulled a gun on a bouncer, then pointed the weapon at them. Investigators say 35-year-old Robert Gadsden was in gripping condition after the shooting around 3 a.m. Saturday outside Boomy's restaurant and bar. The officers were not harmed. The FBI says Gadsden pulled the gun on the bouncer, then pointed the weapon at officers and refused to drop it. Investigators say both Gadsden and the officers fired at each other.
The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help identifying a man who was hit by a car and killed on I-75 northbound near Ottawa mile marker 13.6 at around 6:45 a.m. Police described the victim as a white male with a small build, in his 20s to 30s wearing dark clothes. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office traffic unit says the victim had no identification. They say the man was struck while walking in the fast lane on the interstate, but it's not clear how he got there. They say there is no car in the area associated with him.
3 people have been charged with murder in a deadly shooting near the Atlanta Fair earlier this month. According to Atlanta police, two minors, 19-year-old Marquez and Harris, were arrested. All 3 are charged with felony murder. The names of the minors have not yet been released. Police say a 16-year-old boy died at the scene. A 14-year-old boy and a 19-year-old man were also shot and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The 16-year-old, now identified as Joshua Adetanji, was killed. It's unclear if the parties involved in the shooting were at the fair.
Wildlife officials in East Tennessee captured and relocated this 500-pound black bear. The bear was known to dig through garbage, bird feeders, and pet food around the campus of Tusculum University for years. But recently, the bear has become more active and has been increasingly damaging property around the area. Officials with Tennessee's Wildlife Resources Agency and the Greenville Fire Department helped tranquilize the bear Thursday. Crews then relocated the bear to a remote area of the Cherokee National Forest.
A former Tennessee nurse is guilty of criminally negligent homicide in the death of a patient who was accidentally given the wrong medication, a jury found Friday. She was also found guilty of gross neglect of an impaired adult in a case that has fixed the attention of patient safety advocates and nurses organizations around the country. The nurse freely admitted to making several errors with the medication that day, but her defense attorney argued that the nurse was not acting outside of the norm and systemic problems at Vanderbilt University Medical Center were at least partly to blame for the error.
Besides graduation, it's the night that most high school students will remember forever, and that had many girls heading to Dunlap, Tennessee Saturday for a prom dress giveaway. The owner of Dunlap Mercantile, who allowed organizers to rent the space, believed in making sure the girls are able to fulfill their dreams that will last a lifetime. The event was called Say Yes to the Prom Dress, and it welcomed dozens upon dozens of hopeful girls. They shuffled through prom dresses ranging in color and size throughout the day. The one thing the gowns had in common were all of them were free. Some who went to the prom giveaway traveled over an hour to pick out a perfect dress. It also provided shoes, jewelry, and even offered free hair and makeup for the girls. They just had to sign up and schedule a date.
Dollywood Amusement Park in Tennessee says it has temporarily closed a ride developed by the same maker of a free fall ride from which a teen dropped to his death at a Florida attraction. Dollywood told the Associated Press that it was saddened to hear about the death of 14-year-old Tyree Sampson, who authorities said fell out of a towering amusement ride called Orlando Freefall at Icon Park in Orlando on Thursday. Based in Pigeon Forge, Dollywood says it has temporarily closed its dropline ride out of an abundance of caution.
It's the biggest night for Hollywood as movie stars arrive for the 94th Annual Academy Awards. The Oscars have returned to the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles after taking a detour to Union Station last year due to the pandemic. The stars shined on the red carpet outside, and another return to tradition. Also, for the first time since 2018, the Oscar ceremony has a host, actually 3 hosts. Comedians Wanda Skies, Amy Schumer, and actress Regina Hall teamed up to co-host the show. The Netflix film The Power of the Dog leads the pack of nominations with 12. Recognizing the importance of streaming to the film industry now, viewers will also be able to watch the Oscars on Hulu and YouTube TV.
Wildlife officials in East Tennessee captured and relocated this 500-pound black bear. The bear was known to dig through garbage, bird feeders, and pet food around campus of Tusculum University for years. But recently, the bear has become more active and has been increasingly damaging property around the area. Officials with Tennessee's Wildlife Resources Agency and the Greenville Fire Department helped tranquilize the bear Thursday. Crews then relocated the bear to a remote area of the Cherokee National Forest.
The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help identifying a man who was hit and killed by a vehicle on Interstate 75 near Ottawa early Sunday morning. Deputies were called to the scene on I-75 northbound near the 13.6-mile marker around 6:45 a.m. Traffic investigators say the man was hit by a passenger vehicle and that drugs or alcohol were not a factor for the driver. The driver remained on scene, was uninjured, and contacted 911. Investigators said the identified man was struck while walking in the fast lane on the interstate, but it's not clear how he got there, as there was no vehicle associated to him in the area. The man, who was described as a white male, small build, possibly in his 20s to 30s, wearing dark clothes. According to the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office Traffic Unit, the pedestrian struck had no identification on his person.
The Hamilton County Health Department on Friday reported 6 new positive COVID-19 cases, down 10 from Thursday. The total number of cases in the county now stands at 98,173. There were no more deaths reported on Friday by the Health Department, for a total of 1,114. The Health Department is currently conducting data cleaning on a number of backlogged cases from the Omicron surge. This process will result in an increase of the total number of cases. However, the daily case counts will still reflect the actual number of new cases received by the Health Department on that day. The number of COVID-19 hospitalizations is 24 in Hamilton County, down 27 on Thursday. 4 more are hospitalized with suspected COVID. There are 7 Hamilton County inpatients and 5 patients that are in ICU. No change from Thursday. The number of those who have recovered from coronavirus in Hamilton County is 96,982, 99%. There are 77 active cases compared to 78 on Thursday.
The mayors of Cleveland and Chattanooga are calling for immediate sales tax relief for Tennessee cities, and their mission could unlock millions of dollars in revenue annually, with Cleveland and Chattanooga receiving the lion's share in this region. According to Cleveland Kevin Mayor Brooks and Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly, in 2002, Tennessee altered its 55-year revenue sharing relationship with cities and towns by increasing the sales tax rate to 7% from 6%. However, they said new revenues were held back for the state's general fund. Brooks said Kelly said the restoration of this important revenue to local taxpayers would allow residents to see direct benefits from increased investments in infrastructure, essential services, economic expansion, and quality of life.
2 love stories set more than 20 years apart connect in an unusual way in the Broadway play Bright Star, which will be performed by the Bangarang Players Thursday through Sunday of this week at the venue at Creekside in Cleveland next to the Village Green. The play, with a script and music composed by well-known entertainers Steve Martin and Eddie Brickwell, traces the life of Alice Murphy, who opens the play with the song My Story, letting the audience know that they are in for quite a tale. She is joined by 19 others in the ensemble cast. Tickets, which are $20 each, are available at www.clevelandcityballet.com, but are selling quickly. The production will be at 7:30 p.m. on March 31st, April 1st, and April 2nd, and at 2:30 p.m. on April 3rd. Contributors for the play include Lake Forest Middle School, Bradley Central High School, and Cleveland High School music departments, and volunteers and cast members.
We are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube through our channel BCHS VOX News.
You will also find more online at our website, voxnews.net.
Remind your friends to like, subscribe, share, and tune in.
You just cannot get enough of Vox.
That is all we have for you today from Studio H12 at Bradley Central.
And as always,
God bless and go Bears!